Good evening and welcome. Let's take a look at the top story we are tracking for you this summer. Many experts said that Joe Biden and Vladimir Putin's meet in Geneva is going to prove futile, a relationship that is worse than the Cold War times. But it seems that the summit has struck a chord of diplomacy for the two countries. Russian President Vladimir Putin has hailed the summit. He shared some warm words for U.S. President. Putin said that Biden is a professional and one needs to be very careful while working with him because he does not miss anything. And he said that his country is ready to continue more dialogue if his American counterpart agrees.
I hope that it won't be like previous years and Biden will be allowed to work freely. We will defend our interests. We are ready to continue the dialogue as much as the American side is ready to do the same.
The two leaders met in Geneva for a historic meet. The talks went on for 3 hours. They exchanged expressions of mutual respect, but also restated their starkly differing views on cyber attacks, Ukraine, and Alexei Navalny. The Russian president said that instead of bickering, it would be better if the US and Russia unite in a fight against cybercrime. In the same video conference, Putin also took a slight jab at the US for considering nothing more important than themselves. Listen in.
The fact that sometimes he confuses something, well, he has a young, well-educated press secretary, a beautiful woman. She herself confuses things every time. It's not because her education doesn't allow her or because she has a poor memory. It's just when people consider something of second importance, they don't focus their attention on it. Americans think that there's nothing more important than themselves.
For more on this, our correspondent Susan Tehrani is joining us live from New York. Good evening to you, Susan. Thanks for being with us. This, of course, is a highly anticipated meeting, especially due to the tensions between the two countries being at their highest since the Cold War. What are some of the key takeaways from this meet? We definitely see the striking of some level of diplomacy.
Interesting comments indeed coming from Vladimir Putin from the U.S. side, an official response from the Biden administration. We haven't seen anything yet. However, this could take two paths. First, it could be music to Joe Biden's ears, considering the fact that Vladimir Putin comes out and says that he's looking forward for a second meeting moving forward with the Biden administration. It's also important to note when two countries have come up with a working format and agreement, a second meeting or second conversation or a second date, if you may, is pretty inevitable. It could also signify that Putin is flexing his muscle and indicating that he will have a handle on dealing with Joe Biden moving forward and he has nothing to worry about. So why not? Let's have another meeting and let's move forward with this agreement, which, by the way, while it is a step in the right direction, the Kremlin has made very clear that there isn't a timeline. What's mentioned in this agreement is mostly focused on arms control, which is an easy situation to find common grounds on, and also some issues related to cybersecurity, and that was important for the Biden administration, of course, a message to bring back home inside the United States as well, that, you know, we really did talk about that, considering the various ransomware and cyber attacks that the U.S. has been facing and is believed to be coming from the higher up from Russia. So we'll wait for an official response, but as for now, these are the two ways that we can interpret Vladimir Putin's comments. And you saw the jab that he took at the president a day after calling him very sharp.
Yes. And Russian president being somewhat complimentary prior to that jab to Biden. And this was, of course, surprising considering the earlier comments, for example, the killer comment during an earlier interview.
I'm sorry, I had a hard time hearing you, Allison. Can you repeat the question?
Yeah, let me repeat, Susan. Russian President Putin being somewhat complimentary to President Biden, and some thought this to be surprising considering the earlier comments made by Biden during an earlier interview where he had called President Putin a killer.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Yeah. Yeah, it was interesting because, you know, Vladimir Putin did what he can. He had the upper hand on the one hand, which he didn't have to share the podium with Joe Biden at a press conference where Biden could directly call him out if he was sort of swaying away and not telling the truth on many issues. He had the first press conference right after their meeting, and he was able to spread propaganda and turn the table on human rights issues to the United States, which a lot of times countries like Russia and China do. And I think he sort of went full force on that. But at the end, as politicians often do, you know, they come back and they compliment the person that they want to work with on a strategic relationship. It has nothing to do with personal preference. Everything everyone knows that about both Biden and Vladimir Putin, that it's not personal when it comes to dealing with both sides. Biden mentioned during his press conference independently, he said it's not about trust, it's about America's interests, and Putin on his side said that, you know, we're willing to work on a strategic front regardless of who the president is. So yes, it was important that he mentioned that, but also, if you remember, Putin also called Biden predictable during an NBC interview right before President Biden entered Geneva for this meeting as well. So a lot of theater going around as well for the media and for the audience at home. Let's take that into consideration as well.
WION, now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the news on the move.